Hello my lovelies, welcome to this monthly challenge. I've forgotten the monthly challenge rattle, so I think that should have worked. So last month's monthly challenge I mixed in with a YouTube video and I mixed it in with my new class perspective because that's where all my focus is at the minute. And I have a lot of people saying, come on back to YouTube, Matt. That is my plan, to spend more time on YouTube, but I am all about this class at the moment. I have tons of YouTube videos ready to be edited and put together, but I have tons of class videos ready to be edited and put together, so that is where I am spending my attention. But I thought I would do the same thing this month, where I will share with you guys a technique. Last month it was more of a page process, it was more of the journaling aspect to art journaling. I didn't care what media you use, what materials you use. This month it's more of a traditional journal making tutorial where I'm just going to show you making a whimsical houses accordion journal, and then what I'll do with those of you that are in class is we will take that another level. We'll take the journal that we make and we fill it. Yeah. Okay, if you hear noises now, baby cakes just came in. You want to say hi?
This one. This little madam.
This little madam. You've got cold tootsies. You've got to look up at the camera, they can't see your beautiful eyes. Look at the camera, up there. Over there. Check. Nearly. Okay, so if you hear noises, it's this little one. So if you want to learn what we are going to do with this accordion journal, then join us in my new class perspective. Which is getting juicily full now. We will be in the process of this class while this video goes out. So if you would like to join us, the early bird is still up. I offer early birds for people that want to take the journey with me, and that is 40% off, which I put the class in at the lowest price I could possibly put the class in at, honestly. So it is a really good price when you consider 40% off of that. And if you post a picture of your whimsical accordion houses below in the monthly challenge group, you will be entered into win any class that you want on journal workshops, including the new one. So it's worth being on journal workshops for those of you that keep saying, Jennibellie, come back to YouTube. YouTube is still my first love. It's my only social media love. Truthfully, I don't like any other. TikTok, don't even get me started. I've never even downloaded that. So I will be creating more on here, but journal workshops is still my art community. So if you want art swaps, free art swaps every month, free monthly challenges, free groups such as the Super Studio Spruce Up or my 7-day journal journey. I had a friend text me the other day and say, you're into journaling, can you tell me how to do some written journaling? And I said, I've done a whole course on it. It is free on my site. Take it. So is Dig, which is another class I did, another journal journey, 7-day journal journey class I did, such as Inspiration Station class. It's got thousands of people have gone through that class now. If you want a free art journaling class from me. So if you've never been on there, there's lots of stuff over there for you to look at for free. Yes, there are paid courses as well, but there are tons of free stuff if you want to take that as well. And let's get started with our journals. Okay, my love, to start with, you are going to need quite thick paper or cardstock. This is Bristol board. It's £114 or 250 GM. And it just helps your journal stand up. If you don't have any thick paper, you could always stick a couple of sheets together. That should do the trick. And I'm going to take 2 sheets for the journal. I may even decide on 3, but for now I'm going to do 2. And first off, we want to gesso. Now I prefer for this technique, which we're going to do for this background, which is actually a technique we use in the perspective class, I prefer thin gesso for this. And what I mean by that is more the studio or the student version rather than the artist version of gesso. But if all you have is some, you know, really good quality gesso, then you can just water it down. I'm just going to spread it on with credit card. I want it relatively smooth without lines in it, but it's more important you just get it everywhere. It's more important that we get it everywhere in our journals, and I explain why in the class. Because we're doing it on thick paper, I don't think it's as important, but I would still say try and cover it, because we are going to put a lot of water on this. And so you want a nice thin, it doesn't have to be thick, but a thin barrier covering all of your paper. If you look closely, you can see where there's a bit of difference in colour as to where you might have missed a little patch. But I'm using a credit card just because it's quicker to get so much gesso over the whole thing. But you can use a brush if you prefer, or a roller. I'm just going to move these out so I can use the remaining gesso on my paper here. Because I find the more you gesso, whenever you do something like this, just stretch out those little bits of gesso that you saw go around the edges. Clean off your gesso on your brushes, on your background paper, over your paint you've already done. The more I find you can build it, and the longer it lasts before any buckling happens on this paper, and just the more interesting it gets. You just build layers and layers and layers. So stretching out your gesso like that, you can see it's basically covered the whole space. In fact, it's done a bit more up here. It just gives you a bit of a reset on your background. Dropsy paper, some people call it dropsy paper, I call it waste paint paper, or your desk waste paint paper, whatever. Your desk protector. They dried very quickly because we did a thin layer. Obviously you can speed them up if you want to with a dryer, and you want to then cut them. I'm going to do 4 inches. You can do whatever size you want. The size that you determine now will be the size, the width of your houses. So I'm going to go 4 inches across. Like I say, you could do more if you want. You could do them really fat and nice and chunky, like 7 inches or something like that, where it's more like this, and do kind of like shorter houses. I'm going to do long and tall, but you could do, you know, short and fat if you wanted to. But what you need to do is make sure that your sizes are the same. So this is just under, this is 3.5. So, I might, yeah, on my next one, I'm going to go 3.5 because that will maximise my paper. You guys know I like to use every bit of everything, so I'm going to go 3.5 instead of 4 inches. But as long as they're the same size each time, then you're good. I can see patches where I missed the gesso. So we'll see if that has an effect with our next step. It might. It does in our journals. I'm going to keep these because you never know when you need a strip of white paper. So those 2 sheets have given me 6 houses. Like I say, I think I might do another sheet. If I do, I'll do that off camera just to keep this video shorter. Your journal, stand up. If you look closely, you can see where there's a bit of difference in colour. Yes, I multitask over here. I'm editing the video while I'm recording the video. Okay, so next what we need is lots of water on our pages. And this is why I say no matter what paper you are using, gesso it first. Lots of water means you want a bit of a barrier. And then what we want to do is grab some watercolour. Now, I've been asked a lot where I get these watercolours. These watercolours came off of Amazon. They were so cheap. They were like 12 or 13 pounds, which is probably about 15 American dollars. And they have lasted me so long and so well, and I've used them a lot. I use these every other day, probably. They came with palettes, they came with brushes, I think they came with paper as well. They were just super cheap off of Amazon, and I just searched for, I think it was pearlescent watercolour. Okay, so if you want to know where I got these, oh look, you can see where there's some gesso that didn't take, and you'll see because it's absorbing the water more than other areas. You see that? I don't know if you can see on camera. Anyway, before all of the water dries off, I just wanted to let you know where I got these, because I'm always asked about them. And the reason I love them so much is honestly because they are cheap. And why do I love them because they are cheap? Is because these are backgrounds. And when there's half of these, I think those are metallic, those are pearlescent, and those are neon. And then these are like a regular set of colour. I personally can't bring myself to use my expensive watercolours on backgrounds. I know I should be able to. I know I should be just use anything. I'm moving it away from the others because I want to do different colours in each one. And this is what I love about this technique, is you can really play, do a bit of colour theory and really play with your own colour combos and see what you really like and just mess around. And you really don't need a lot of watercolour for this technique, which is another reason why I love it. These last so long because of it, and they'll give you such lovely, wonderful effects. And the reason why we do it in our class, let me show you, is because it gives us some yumminess on pages where, you know, we are doing writing. So if we're writing, this gives such a lovely, gorgeous background with no work. Honestly, it's so easy. Just gives something. It just makes me happy. You can do all the same colours if you want to make the journal kind of like tie in. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go wild like I do in my journal and just do anything and everything, colour combos, and just find what I like through playing. And you do not need, again, as I said, a lot of watercolour for this. You really don't. It takes very little, and I just decide what colours I want as I go along. Let's go with this one. And this is like a rusty metallic orange. The flicks and adding extra water and just throwing extra water on there will really, how these will dry will look so different to how they are right now when they are wet. They will create such gorgeous effects. And I'm going to go with a pink, a baby pink. Yes. And don't be frightened of water pooling, let it. Pro tip is definitely to wet the page before you go in. Wet the paper. Okay, I'm feeling some dark blue. Maybe some neon green. Now let's go grass green. Wow. And honestly, in my journal, I use this set every single week. It's because it's such an easy technique. This just come in, gesso, takes 10 seconds to gesso a page, leave it, come back, wet it and wax some watercolour on, honestly. Every Sunday night I do it in my journal. Because on the pages where we aren't necessarily art journaling, there's a lot of art journaling techniques in the class. Oh, I haven't wet that one. But there's also gratitude journaling, you know, it's a gratitude journal class. So where we're just doing the gratitude journal, the writing parts, it just gives enjoyment to the eye. We're using the page for the whole week, so I'm going to do neon pink. You saw it in the journal, it just is a yes. Oh, that is a yes. That is a yes from me. And I tend to find 3 colours per page is the perfect number. Like this is going to be gorgeous, but it's not going to have as much interest as one that has 3. I don't know why, it's just, it is what it is, but it can be a little bit not difficult, but a little bit brain-worthy to pick that 3rd colour, because you want something that's just going to make the other 2 colours pop, contrast against them, or even tone in with them like this one, but you want it to accent. I'm going to do a wash on the background of this one. And then metallic baby pink, I think. You see, it's nice, but it's just not got the oomph. So for this one, that aqua could be nice. I'm going to go with this copper. This metallic copper over here. Ooh, ooh, that's made it moody. And I know this is just simple play, but it's so enjoyable. Maybe because it's simple, it's stress-free, you know, there's no complicated technique. And it will work out beautiful no matter what you do. If you want to, you can of course add some salt to this. You can make this more complicated background, do whatever you want, but this I just thought was a lovely, easy way to create colour for your houses. Give them some whimsy before we've even begun drawing them. And again, that's why I love this palette. It will just go on forever. And it's not like expensive Paul Rubens or Winsor & Newton or whatever it is that we have in our collections. So I'll let these dry and then I'll show you the beautiful marks and patterns and just overall loveliness that these create. Okay, so here's the result. Lots of interesting things happening all around these. I did do 3 more, as I said I might off camera, but you can tell they're very different. Like this is very subtle, very soft, and then this is kind of like wow. And the different combos of colours, and I love where the water pools, because you still get, although it's all of the waters come together in these, that one doesn't have very much, but these bigger pools, you still get different areas of different colour. As long as you don't knock it while it's drying, then you'll get different areas of different colour. If you wiggle it about as it's drying, you know, moving it or whatever, then the water, the different colours of the watercolour might merge into one, but otherwise you get such lovely interesting patterns and things happening. So now we're going to make our houses out of these. So I just drew quickly a couple of house sketches. I just got this ruler and created the boxes to reflect the size, because there is a couple of points we need to think about with this accordion, and that is that everything has to stay within the lines. Now that is very difficult when drawing houses, because we naturally want to make the roofs bigger. You try it, you'll see. You want to draw over the size of the house, because roofs are like that. The whole point of the roof is to keep the rain off, the snow and the wind away. So, you know, it is to protect the house, to protect the walls. So roofs are generally a little bit larger than the house, so you have to keep it within the width of our cards here. Now if you're going to do what I'm going to do and make it so that we essentially have pockets in the backs of the houses, we are taking the roofs off, which means that the parts of the accordion which are going to touch is the houses themselves. So therefore the houses need to be touching. You need somewhere in order to be able to join them that is not connected with the roofs. Okay, so the roofs have to be in alignment with the size of the width of these pieces of cards, and secondly you need to have the houses come to the edges. So it's kind of two things that are counterintuitive, because as a house you kind of want to do that. So this isn't right, because these need to come out to that, and the roof needs to stay. You can't jut it out, if you see what I'm saying. You miss either of those and the accordion just won't fold properly. I've mainly done my houses with paint pens. You can obviously do them with any other kind of paint that you might like, or collage, whatever it is that you're drawn to. Around the edges, I would advise you to lay down a thicker layer of black, and even in the place where we're going to cut the roof off, I'm going to just make the line a bit thicker, just to make it easier for us to cut along these lines. So because we're cutting all of this out, having a nice thick line just makes it easier for us. So when you've made your lovely houses, figure out what order you want them in and cut them out. Oh, I forgot on this one, I added more of a fat line to cut around that fat line, but I've gone a bit close, because obviously when I cut this roof off, it's going to cut up here, so it's going to be a very small, slight thing, but I've started cutting it like that now, so that's how it's going to be. With a couple, I decided not to go right to the top of the measurement, just to give a little bit of variety, because I realised I've done the others right up to the top. Oops. Bit that's got to stay strong, because my two roofs are only attached through that bit, and I've just might have just ripped that up. We are going to adhere our roofs to the pocket, or the tag, let's call it a tag in the pocket. It's not really a tag, it's just a piece of paper popping out a pocket, but they only had one chimney. I only added one chimney. I should have added chimneys onto this. Oh well. I love a chimney. Phrases I never thought I'd say. Okay, I've thought about many different ways that we can do the pockets at the back of our accordion journal. I'm just going to go, or even create the accordion, I'm just going to go with the simplest way I think that it will work for all of us, regardless of whether or not you want to cut your roofs off. So now is the time to cut our roofies off. If you are doing this part with me, be brave, big girly pants on. Boop. And what I'm also going to do is grab my black and just again where I've cut, just make the line black a bit again. Like I say, because this is going to be stuck onto something, I'm going to risk cutting, oh goodness, it really is not much there because I went a bit far into that. Ooh, ooh. Probably better with a craft knife, but I'm not very skilled with a craft knife, and nor do I trust myself with a craft knife. My poor hands and fingers can attest to that over the years. But if you are skilled with a craft knife and don't cut yourself, then you will probably make this part so much neater than I can. Because of course you can't just snip anything off from here to neaten it up. You need all of that so that it will fit back into the roof when you replace, what should we call the things at the back? They're not tags, pull-outs. No, that doesn't sound right. Scrape that. If you've got a more technical name for it, please tell me. Okay, I'm definitely going to go over this bit because cutting it has stressed the paper and revealed the white. Just give it a bit of definition again. Not too bad on that side. But yeah, you don't want to go, oh, that looks a bit janky there, I'll just snip that off, because if you snip that off, it's not going to fit perfectly back into your house. So just be aware. Of course, you can do this without cutting the roofs off at all. You don't need to do the I don't know what to call it. The bit at the back, I'm not going to say what I was about to say. I've got some much more delicate scissors, which will probably do a much better job at this. You just get stuck on your favourite scissors, don't you? Don't you? Or is that just a me thing? Does anybody else do that? Get stuck on your favourite things and just instantly reach for them without thinking about what might be better for the actual job. If you have got time to maybe stick those lovely things under a book and compress them a little bit for time, that might be more useful than what I'm about to do. I'm about to go into doing it straight away, but that's because I'm on a time crunch. But if you've got a bit of time, flattening these out before we put them together so they're not winky wonky with each other might be a decent idea. But what I'm going to do for the accordion is just make hinges, and I'm just going to use a piece of paper and basically cut them into 2 inches. Now I've already tested the paper grain and the right way to do the paper grain on here. I have already got a tutorial on how to test paper grains and why you want to do it when you are folding paper for making journals. So I'm not going to cover that here, but I have already tested this paper and this is the right way to fold it. So I'm just going to fold it into basically 1 inch pieces. So 1 inch will go on one house and the other inch will go on the other house. And what you need to do is basically cut it to the size of your smallest connection. So these 2 houses are going together, so this is the smallest connection. On these 2 houses here, this here is the smallest connection. On these 2, this is. On these 2, this is. On these 2, this one is. Okay, so you want to measure it to the smallest connection. And I'm just going to measure it like this. It's very scientific. Like that. And then over we go. Make sure you do it in the order when you turn them over, that you keep them in the order that you want. So if I was to turn these over and do it that way, I'd get them when I turn them back the wrong way round. Yeah, I'd get them like that. Which now I look at it, I quite like that way. Typical. Let me just check what I want. I don't know. It confused me now. I'll stick with the original because I thought about it already. Okay, so I'm going to just use some regular Pritt stick and just to make sure it sticks for good, some tacky glue as well. And I'm just using some thin paper. I think this is 110 GSM. I'm not sure what that is in pounds, maybe 80. It's a lightweight piece of drawing paper. So to keep them together in the right way, that one needs to go that side. And then make sure your hinge is flush with that side of the house. Okay. And then put your bums together, the two bottoms here, down here, make sure they match up, line up, and then smush it down. Now I just realised I started with the wrong way. I want them that way first, but it doesn't really matter. The hinge will work either way. Yeah, I wanted them that way first. But as I'm using thin paper, it doesn't matter. If I was using thick paper, it would matter. I would need to fold them the right way. So this way for them to open out, and that way. Do you understand what I mean? Either use it this way or this way if you're using thicker card with it. I'm not going to use thicker card with it because this is probably going to go into my perspective journal, which is just a composition book. So I don't want it to build up too fat. Now, obviously, where I'm taking these hinges to is the part where the edge disappears. Bums together and make sure that it's level and that this is level, that you've got all the right angles going off. Oh, how lovely! I'm beginning to stand. And this one I want that way, so whoop. Okay, and the reason why I have done it in the folds that I have done it, which is that way, rather than a house being on the front, I've not got a house on the front, technically, the front or the back, is so that I can, if I wish to, stick this into my perspective journal. I'm just going to let them all, these pieces, dry first before I go on to the next step, because I put 2 layers of glue on them. They are a little bit damp, so I'm going to let them rest a little bit first and dry. So to make our pockets, we just want to create strips that are just a tiny bit less than the width of our houses. So as mine are 3.5 inches, I'm going to go with 3 inches. And I've used the same paper as I used for the hinges, the lighter weight paper, and for the inserts I'm going to use the same paper that the Bristol board that I used for the houses, because I want them to have a bit more rigidity to them to hold themselves up with the roofs on top, for pulling in and out of the pockets. So what I'm going to do is just to where it makes sense. So for these ones with the scallops, I wouldn't go over here and try and cut out each of the scallops. It's just a bit of a waste of time. I'm going to go below it, and on this one that's got the dome, I guess you could stick it all the way to the top, but not glue it past the edge, if it makes sense. Don't glue it around here, because obviously then the insert that you have is going to be very small. So you could stick it down to here and just glue these edges to here, or you could keep it up there but make sure you still only glue the edges and snip it to the right shape afterwards. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Nothing needs to be perfect. I don't know why I just flipped over. It's the same on both sides, but okay, I'm just going around the edge with the tacky glue, because I think it's a stronger glue than a stick or even tape, but you can use tape for ease if you want. And I'm just going to measure the space in between, so I've got an idea of how wide I can make my inserts, and I'm guessing it's going to be just under 2.5 inches. Yeah, I'll probably go 2.25 inches, and then that gives wiggle room. Because of course when you push it down, you've got to allow the glue to smush down a little bit. So that's why I'm going for 2.25 inches to allow that. I didn't need to take that glue all the way to the top, because obviously I'm going to do this and flip it around and snippy snip snip. Okay, if you want more space on your inserts, there is extra room to play here. I've gone in. This is 3.5 inches and I went 3 inches, so I've got like either side 1/4 inch to play with. So you can, you know, extend it if you want to a little bit. Just don't, I wouldn't advise going over the hinge. Leave the hinge so that it has the nice movability. I'm going to leave this to dry again before putting in the inserts, so that these panels are good and strong and solid, and anything that you put in and pull out won't mess around with this, won't make this shift. Colours I did last night, ooh la la. Perspective journal does not want to close. It's getting chunky. So I reckon I could manage, I'm going to try 2.5 inches and see if that works. You can always take a little bit more off, you can't add a little bit more on, as my hairdresser always says. So we can try 2.5. Might just be a little bit, wait, it can do it, but it's a little bit tight, so I'm just going to go a little bit under. So 2.25 inches, what I originally thought. Yeah, that's much easier. Okay, I'm going to go with 2.25 inches on mine. And to get the most out of your pages, if like me you've got some shorter ones, you can turn them, and we can do these ones, just saving paper, you know, Jennibellie style. Still going to need a second sheet, but it just means that you're not using or creating as much waste. And I've practically got a full piece left for whatever. Just be careful as you wiggle them in, but you want them to go right the way down to the bottom. And if you've got them a little bit off centre, try to put them level, so that when you flip them over, we are going to stick our roofs back onto these pieces, then they are where they're going to be, level. So for this, no, I think I'm going to use both. I'm going to use a bit of, just a little bit of Pritt stick, as we call it in the UK, but glue stick. I'm not going to worry too much about going over with the glue. You'll see what I mean when I do this, because we're going to cut off any excess. So anything that's over, I'm not stressing about, but I am going to level it up. And make sure, if you've got, I just had a little bit in that corner, you don't want your glue touching your house, because you don't want to accidentally stick it together. But I'm not stressing about this glue here, because I'm just going to wipe, or I'm going to cut around it, so it doesn't matter. If it's helpful to stick down, I don't want to stick something whole on top of it, because I don't want to stick the glue to my books or whatever, so I'm just using individual little bottles of paint, because it works very well. Oh, this is gonna be a biatch of a one to cut around. I'm not going to enjoy that. Ugh. I'll look forward to cutting that one. Give the chimney some love. Seeing as it's the only chimney I did. Unimpressed with myself. I'm just going to leave it to dry, cut off the excess paper, and then we have our gorgeous Accordion Whimsy Houses journal. Done. So, as I say, if you want to win a class, you can post a picture of your Whimsical Houses Accordion journal in the monthly challenge group. And the winner from last month's is here. Well done, my love. You can take any class that you want on journal workshops, including the new one. The new one, as I say, has started, but all of my classes are self-paced, go at your own pace, so have a look while it's 40% off, and you'll still be along with the ride with the rest of us, even if you're doing catch-up. To be honest, I put it into sections, but it isn't like you can get behind with this class. You can dip into different areas of the class if you want. How I've laid it out does make no sense to take it that way, but as I even say in the class, you can jump to this section if you want, jump to that section. It's all a big amalgamation of just improving the joy in your life. That is the focus of this class. It sounds like it's a gratitude journaling, oh, so boring type of thing, but it isn't. It's about raising your inner appreciation compass levels, so that without anything else changing in your life, you just feel better. And I'm a testament to this. This is why I'm doing this class. I always do my classes out of my own learning, and the techniques I share in the class I did through the whole of 2025. The main one I'm thinking about, which I call evidential gratitude journaling, I did through the whole of 2025, and honestly I was happier that year than I have been maybe ever, and there is nothing external that changed other than I learned how to raise my own levels of appreciation through such techniques as this. And there's mixed media art journaling techniques in there as well. There is just loads of different gratitude journaling and loads of different gratitude practices as well. It is really about joy. That has nothing to do with changing anything other than what's going on internally. And I will share with you just a little bit now about the class should you want to join. A lot of times I will say to you that doing an art journal page is not about the end result, it's about the process. That is not the case with this page. This page is a tool, just like that exercise above with the heart center, just like the magical moments journal page. You just take out the negative space, just a couple of snips, and we have our title done. Appreciation in our lives is like the sun and the water and the soil to your seed. It is difficult, but that is the advanced version of really encompassing your gratitude, of really going deeper, further, evolving and changing yourself. And that again is what this class is about. It's about bettering your life. That can only happen through bettering yourself and bettering your own psyche. This is what your index will look like as you begin working. So if you do nothing else in this class, this is the most important part for me, for sure. Okay, so as you can see, I'll take you through basically a flip of this journal. Life's imperfect, guys. I think part of real gratitude is embracing that. Like, things can't always be perfect, and it's easy to be grateful for everything if everything's perfect all the time. But when it isn't, this is why we're creating pages like this in here. Feeling, just okay, just grateful, just content, just appreciative, just stable, satisfied, here, happy, just right now, just. But it is just how the world works, that what you focus on expands. That's just how it is, because that is what life is. It's about our perception. So that's it from me, my love. If you are in class, make sure you make these whimsical houses accordion journal and keep it. And I will put in an extra section in the advanced gratitude journaling section for you guys coming up. Much love, everybody. Have an awesome day.